all of you. Good evening. Hi, all of you. So, TK, good that you all have joined in. Fine then, I think we start off. Let's start off now. All good to go? Have you all got the, schedule, I believe. I had put out the schedule on the general channel. We'll have 4 days of discussions on the 2020 question paper. Okay, 2 of them on paper 1 and 2 of them on paper 2. And I'll try to discuss the more tricky type of questions rather than all the type of questions. Okay, the ones which will trouble you a bit more, with the ones which will bother you a bit more, we'll discuss that a bit more detailed. Okay, all of you? All good? Yes. Should we start now? All ready to go? Right. Okay. Now, 2020 May, the first question that we had, question number 1A, section A, question 1A, which was, write a geographical note on Halloween storm. Right? This is section A. We are discussing 2020 paper 1. Okay. Section A, 1A, write a geographical note on Halloween storm. Write a geographical note on the Halloween storm. Okay. Now, what is happening is every year there is 1 or 2 question of this kind. इसके पहले भी पूछा हुआ है. They've asked questions on what is pseudo volcanic features. They've asked on what is phreatic eruptions. In one of the previous questions, they also asked something on pronatalist policies, though some of you know these terms now. Okay, so they have been asking 1 or 2 questions which we do not know what is it about. Okay, so Halloween storm is one of those type of questions about which we have no idea what it is, but it is asked. Now, my suggestion to all of you on this is, and this is a compulsory question, okay? Question number 1 is compulsory in paper 1, and question number 5 also is compulsory in paper 1, paper 2, both for that matter. So, ऐसे questions का क्या करोगे? Okay, one solution is you leave it completely. Don't even bother about it. Okay, don't break your head on this. Or the second is try to improvise from whatever you can infer. From whatever you can infer. So you are taking a risk here. This is more like a gamble here. So one choice is छोड़ दीजिए उसको. Okay, do not write about it at all. Don't even bother about what it is. Okay, I have not heard it. I do not know it. Leave it. Or you try to improvise. Okay, now see, if you leave this question, you get 0. इसमें कोई doubt नहीं है. If you improvise something, and if you're lucky, अगर आसपास भी आ गया, you can score 2 or 3 out of 10, which I think is not a bad one to gamble on. ऐसे questions में try to write at least 1 page with 1 diagram or a schematic or some way. So my suggestion is, ऐसे questions को पूरा छोड़ मत देना. If, like say, this question that we had, what is phreatic eruption? What is a pseudo volcano? It's not that you do not know what these words mean. They definitely mean something. And whatever you can infer from the English language, try writing about that. Okay, whatever you can infer from, whatever that word can mean, try writing about that. No, there is no minus marking in the mains. Okay, that's the only thing UPSC is generous about. There's no minus marking. Okay, minus marking only for the prelims, not for the mains. Okay, so अगर minus marking डाल दिया mains में, then तो it's convinced that UPSC is the most sadistic organization on the planet. Okay, maybe we should start talking about banning such institutions eventually, but thank goodness it is not so. So it is not, there is no negative marking here. अच्छा, यहाँ पर आइए अब. So my suggestion to you will be, okay, if you can make some sense of the word, I'll teach you something right now. Okay, if they can make some sense of the word, go for it. Okay, now, if I was discussing this question, आप इसको कैसे लेना? So let's imagine हमें कुछ नहीं पता. Okay, what is Halloween storm? Okay, but can you tell me what all do you think this could mean? What all do you think this could mean? Okay, I mean, it's a discussion here. Okay, Halloween storm. एक तो proper है. This is a storm. This looks something like strong winds. This will have, okay, be part of some extreme weather event. Okay, it will be associated with, okay, with maybe snowfall. Okay, it will be associated maybe with heavy rains. I'm guessing, I do not know. Maybe I'm wrong here, but storm bola hai, so I'm thinking it's something of this kind. Right? Acha. Then this term Halloween, what do you think this Halloween could mean? एक तो बताओ कि Halloween कहाँ हो सकता है? Can this be a phenomena in India? Can this be a phenomena in US? Can this be a phenomena in Asia? Is this a phenomenon of Africa? आपको क्या लगता है ये कहाँ पर होगा? So my guess is this is probably somewhere US and Europe. US and Europe. And if I'm guessing, I'll say it is North Atlantic. Is it fine, all of you? Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I said I'm guessing. मुझे कुछ नहीं पता what is Halloween storm. I'm trying to infer from whatever the words can tell me. Okay, probably US, Europe, because Halloween is not something we talk about in Australia, not in Africa, not in South America, not in India. It's a typical US wala festival hai. It's a day where Europe probably also gets involved. So North Atlantic is my safe bet. Okay, Halloween bola, so it has to be something unusual. Okay, something which is very airy and scary. So airy, scary means it has to be some kind of destructive event. Okay, Halloween. Do you know which time of the year we can have Halloween? Any idea? If you know something, winters. Okay, at least can you write down? Agar storms likha hai. Okay, and something like a cyclones here. Can you anticipate this? Okay, this will be probably late summers. This will be maybe winters. And if you know about Halloween, this is generally the month of October and November. Correct? October, November, generally Halloween. Yes. So keep it October, November. कुछ नहीं याद है. At least mention late summers and winters. Or winters hoga, you will definitely have snowfall. I'm guessing because in north, maybe I'm wrong entirely. I'm guessing. So snowfall hoga yahan par. Can we have very strong snowfall and snowstorms called as blizzards? Yes, possible. It can also be blizzards. See, it's something like you have to anticipate some ideas from the words that you know. Har saal, every year, you have these kind of 1 or 2 questions. So you take a chance on this. You have to risk it a bit more. Okay. Now, what do you think? What do you think? Iska reason kya ho sakta hai? Because I'm saying it is unusual. What do you think can the reason be? Temperate region hai, unusual hai. What can the reason be? Can you suggest something? What can the reason be? Okay. Can I say climate change? Can I say climate change? Can I talk about unusual sea surface temperature of the Atlantic Ocean? Can I relate this with, okay, upper tropospheric winds, jet streams, the role of polar jet stream, अगर टेम्परेट रीजन है, I can always link it to these kind of things. Is it okay, all of you? Maybe I do not know polar vortex, मुझे पता नहीं है, but I'm guessing it's unusual. Unusual होगा, invariably whatever is unusual is going to be about climate change. Okay, it's going to be some changes in the sea surface temperature. You tell me now, when you have got storms, the sea becomes warm or cold? What does it become? Sea becomes warm or cold? It becomes warm. So warm SST. Okay. The winds to pick up speed. What can I write? Can I write a higher pressure gradient or lesser pressure gradient? क्या लिख सकते हैं हम? Strong gradient or less or weak gradient? I'll say higher gradient. I'll higher pressure gradient. Okay. Now can I talk about what can be the consequence? What can be the consequence? At least write down impacting life, okay, disrupting urban conditions. Okay, it could result in, I said, heavy snowfall and whatever is linked to this. Acha. Now, can you tell me some name of some agencies that probably talk about this? कोई institution का नाम बताओगे? Some institution, some agency that you think has researched on this? Oh yes, you got it. NASA will give you something. Okay, NOAA will give you something. ठीक है? We can have World Meteorological Organization can do something here. Now see guys, Halloween storm का बहुत सारा meaning है, if you look up technically. But I think if you have this much of content, you are good to go for a one-page write-up. Okay, you are good to go for one short note. So now look how I would have written. Okay, introduction में Halloween storm has been one of the examples of extreme and violent weather and climatic conditions associated with unusual weather, winds, and sea surface conditions. Okay, this is my introduction. Halloween storms have been one of the examples of extreme and violent weather and climatic conditions associated with unusual weather, winds, and sea surface conditions. These storms are unusual because they are not like tropical cyclones or like the conventional temperate cyclones. Okay, these are smaller tertiary circulations impacting mostly North Atlantic coasts and countries of North America and Western Europe. लग रहा है कुछ टेक्निकल लिखा हमने यहां पर, and none of this is something you could not have anticipated. No, not necessarily KD. I mean, if you write this answer very smartly, the examiner can actually smile because इसमें हमने actually कुछ गलत लिखा नहीं है. I'm guessing. So these kind of experimentation should be maybe a later attempt. Keep 5-10 minutes end में ये करने के लिए, but my suggestion, don't leave it entirely. Okay, do not leave it, because अगर 2-3-4 marks भी मिलता है, okay, it is good enough to give you some edge over the other students. So I'll teach you some of these writing. I'll give you a list of unusual words, unusual terms, and how can you come around it. Yes, इसीलिए try knowing from the word itself. Every word has some meaning. It will not be a random name. Okay, you'll have to think about current affairs based hai, but the problem is this current affair is related to 1991 current affairs and 2003 ka current affairs. Do you think anybody will go back and read as far in the past? ठीक है, तो ऐसे क्वेश्चंस में आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते एक्सेप्ट दैट यूज योर इंटेलिजेंस टू कम एज क्लोज एज पॉसिबल द क्वेश्चन. और अगर आंसर ना करो, ट्रस्ट मी, यू आर लूजिंग नथिंग. बट इफ यू वांट टू गो फॉर, इट्स लाइक नो, लास्ट मिनट डिच है, लास्ट मिनट सर्ज है, द लास्ट मिनट लैप है, ऐसे go for it, let's see what happens. So I'm explaining Halloween storms have been one of the examples of extreme and violent weather and climatic conditions associated with unusual weather, winds, and sea surface conditions. Okay, these storms are unusual because they are not like tropical cyclones or temperate cyclones. They are smaller, they are tertiary circulations impacting mostly North Atlantic coast and the countries of North America and Western Europe. Is it okay? North America and Western Europe. Now, can you have a small diagram here? आपको कुछ नहीं पता आप क्या लिखना चाहते हो, but can we have a diagram here? You tell me now, what type of diagram can I have here? I'm guessing, I do not know, Pratik. Agar storms, listen to me, storms are generally tertiary. This is common sense. Primary circulations are trade wind, westerlies. Okay, secondary circulations are air masses, maybe monsoons. The local cyclones are always tertiary. The local cyclone storms are always, they're smaller systems. Okay, and maybe I said it's wrong. But if I talk in terms of storms, I'll say it's tertiary. And why I said North America and Europe, actually is phenomena is of US. Why I said is because I went by the term called Halloween. That's it. So using the word Halloween, I'm guessing शायद उस time में होगा. और अगर Halloween है, it's going to be unusual, scary, devastating, something that we didn't anticipate. और अगर Halloween है, it has to be sometime around late summers, September में, October में, November में, and that's about it. And it's an unusual one, doesn't happen too many times. So if I want to make a sketch here, one could be a schematic sketch. Schematic sketch, I can say, okay, so extreme weather events. Extreme weather events. Isme I can write down, say, a storm surge. I can talk about super cyclones. I can talk about polar vortices. I can talk about heat waves, and I can talk about Halloween storms. Bana mera schematic? That is one of the extreme events. Okay, yes, add tornadoes if you want to add tornadoes. Okay, and Halloween storms ko, we probably can open this up a bit more. Okay, what do you think is a strong wind? What do you think is a strong wind? Kuch range of speed of wind batao. What is strong wind? Give me a range. Yes, I'm guessing. I'm wrong maybe. But can I say wind speed exceeding 120 kilometers an hour? Can I say this? Or 100 kilometers, 1 to ज़्यादा लगता है, अगर 100 कर दो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. Can I say this? Can we say heavy snowfall here? Heavy snowfall here. Can we talk about heavy rains here? Yes? Violent winds, heavy rains. Okay, along the coast. Maybe I'm wrong, I said. Okay, I'm saying along the coast associated with storm surge. This is my feature of hallowing storms. Okay, this is unlike the regular hurricanes. Unlike the regular hurricanes, okay, because of the speed of winds. Because of the speed of winds. Yeah. So you'll have to take a chance here. Okay. What is the genesis? Now I can talk about what is the genesis of the Halloween storms. So you tell me, आप इसको कैसे लिखोगे? Yes, absolutely. Difficult to predict. Fine. Genesis, because it's unusual, it is probably related to climate change. In the last 2 to 3 decades, SST has increased. Give me some figures. Give me some figures. How has the SST increased in last 2 to 3 decades? Give me some figures. Okay, कितना rise हुआ है? Any idea about the rise of the SST? Okay, ठीक है, percentage में बात कर लो. Not 2 degrees, for heaven's sake. Not 2 degrees. It is about, okay, 0.2 to 0.5 degrees. Okay, 0.5. I'm putting a range here, degree centigrade, and the North Atlantic warming has been sharp. Okay, the upper tropospheric conditions, tropospheric conditions have increased the pressure difference, leading to sharp pressure fall that leads to hallowing storms. Bana iska? And then do mention as a part of comparison, unlike temperate cyclones, hallowing storms are not easy to identify in terms of stages. So temperate cyclone ka stage hai. There is no theory to explain the genesis. Is it okay? Guys, I hope you understand what I'm trying to do here. Okay. You are trying to come to an answer based on what you know. This is bluffing, but this is not random bluffing. You're using your wisdom. So from the words, और ऐसे हर बार questions होंगे. Every year you'll have 2 or 3 questions where you will need to use your understanding, use your wisdom, use your common sense, and maybe you have gone wrong, but take a chance on this. And can I end the answer towards, when I'm ending the answer, you tell me, how do I end the answer? Anybody? Okay. Talk about disaster preparedness. Talk about the role of technology, role of satellite imagery. Okay. Talk about okay, tropospheric winds mapping. Okay, as done by, I said NOAA use kar lo, as done by NASA use kar lo, use of weather satellites. Finish the answer on those lines. Now, if you want to know what it is, there are 2 things here. Now, this was more of bluffing, okay? Now, in reality, we have 2 things. We have the Halloween solar storms, solar storms, और एक है हमारा Halloween storms. These solar storms, they were in news in 2003 because of solar flares, unusual solar flares. And the Halloween storms, this was in 1991. This was because of the polar vortex and because of the cold Arctic air, okay, dragged into US by the jet streams. So I think you know about the polar vortex to write about this. So reality mein, these are two different things. We have a Halloween solar storm because solar flares, this was linked to sunspot cycles. Sunspot cycles. Okay, and this was a major, okay, this was, okay, a major impact on temperatures, major impact disrupting the magnetic fields. ये अलग चीज है, the solar storms. और ये वाला था, this was a weather phenomena related to the polar vortex and the cold Arctic air dragged into the US because of the polar jet stream. Yes. Anyways, listen, this question will not be asked again. This question is not going to be there for you again. But let this question be the basis of how can you smartly manage your own answers. बना लो एक मैप, वर्ल्ड मैप बना के, okay, show Atlantic Ocean and the coast of US as having been impacted. बना दो, बनाना है तो ठीक है? Is it done? So my idea of this question was, can you anticipate and can you try something on your own? ऐसे क्वेश्चन दे के घबरा नहीं जाना है. Okay, 9 out of 10 students will leave this question, but your challenge will be, can you be a bit more smarter here? And believe me, if you do this smartly, the examiner definitely appreciates your intelligence. Unless it's dramatically wrong, तो शायद काट भी दे, but I do not think they will penalize you dramatically. But yes, be careful how often you do this. Say if I ask you, okay, if I ask you a topic like, write a note on subterranean channels. Write a geographical note on subterranean channels. कभी सुना नहीं आपने? Probably you have not heard this term, ना ही आपने पढ़ा है. But can you guess something or not? Subterranean है, this means underground. Okay, this basically means, okay, this is maybe a stream, maybe a river underground. This could be part of the groundwater flow. Maybe it is related to springs. Maybe it is related to certain natural aquifers. Okay? Is it possible? Maybe, I'm guessing. Maybe it's linked to caste. I know something. It's about caste. Okay. Maybe it is associated with areas which have water logging. Maybe there are caves through which they pass. Possible? Okay. So इसी में ही develop करना है. You'll have to develop this. Okay. This could be importance क्या हो सकता है? This could be a source of okay, natural water, natural groundwater. Maybe they can tell us about, okay, they can help us in irrigation, where we can identify them. They can be the basis of planning and for establishing maybe settlements. They could also pose to be hazardous. Agar limestone hai, okay, these could also be hazardous, possible. They can have sinkholes and the whole thing can collapse. Yes. Okay. They could have, okay. Can you guess what type of interesting features they can have? What can be interesting features? Anybody? What can be the interesting features? Blue holes. नहीं, blue holes कहना चाह रहे हो शायद. Yes, they will be linked to caves. What else? What else? Okay, they can have valleys, absolutely. They can have valleys. What else? Yes, they can also have unique biodiversity not found on the land. Yes. They can lead to springs. They can lead to natural springs. Bas, that's it. There could be areas of placer deposits because of dissolution. Okay, salts होंगे. अगर हैं तो यहाँ पर salts हो सकते हैं. If I'm guessing, I'll say gypsum. The most common salts you can find is gypsum. What type of rocks will they move through? Anybody? Agar ye hai, so what type of rocks will they be? If I'm guessing, it's going to be sedimentary rocks. Okay, I can say the channels are through sedimentary rocks. That's all. By the way, guys, this term exists. It is there, but nothing, okay, that can be taught as a chapter. इसी को आप अगर develop कर लो, that's enough. So you have to start learning to do some bit of writing on these lines. The moment I see, a new word, a new question, okay, most of us go into a shock syndrome. Most of us, okay, lose it. I do not know. So underground water, groundwater, they related to springs. Okay, they can be part of a karst topography. Okay, they can be related to some channels, shallow rivers. You can go on. Aquifers is water storage. This is water flow, is what I'm telling you. Anyways, don't care about this. Okay, there's no point thinking about this. I'm just teaching you how would you write on this. So there are 2-3 questions. Okay, there are 2-3 questions which require a bit of application of this kind. Can we move on now? So I think Halloween storm type of question देख के आप डरोगे नहीं, correct? I hope you don't get scared. You don't get totally. Yes, this is definitely a bit of fun also. So guys, you need practice here. Okay, 2-3-4 questions type of करके चले जाना. Okay, now you know you can attempt, and a very good way of attempting this is tell yourself कि यार ये तो कोई भी नहीं जान सकता. Okay, nobody can anticipate this question. Nobody can write. So I would rather write one page and try my luck out here. Yeah? Okay, chalo. Yes, all is well here. So that's question number 1A. Now look at question number 1B. Okay, paper 1, 2020. Question number 1B. Okay, the question was, why is mapping important for analyzing geohydrological investigations? Okay, why mapping is important in geohydrological investigations? Okay, discuss, explain with examples. Explain with examples. I can expect a question on geohydrological importance maybe, study importance maybe, but very specifically, why is mapping important? Why is mapping important? Who could have thought about this? And can anybody be ready with examples on their own? No, you will have to improvise. So this is a type of a question that demands on your seat improvisation. And I generally look at these questions as good way to score marks. Okay, because most students will leave this. इसको छोड़ देंगे या फिर कुछ ना कुछ उल्टा उल्टा लिख के आ जाएंगे. But I think if you can improvise here, okay, I would call this as what is demanded is the scoop shot, okay, of cricket. The scoop shot is an improvised shot. Okay, yes. Okay, there was a time when the sweep shot was also an improvisation, and now it's become a part of your regular good shots. So वैसे ही. Okay, so this is an example of demanding. Yes, you have got a lot of examples. Uppercut को लेकर, absolutely. तो reverse shots जो होते हैं, reverse bat में, reverse sweeps, helicopter shot, yes. So this is an example of the examiner or the question, okay, demanding on the spot improvisation. Switch hit. Okay, fine. Okay, you know all the points. तो इसको try करते हैं, चलो. Why is mapping important in geohydrological investigation? Now देखो, in these type of questions, it's very important that you are able to think in terms of how will you break up the question. Okay, so if I am breaking up, I'll say, what is geohydrological mapping? Why do we need it? Okay. Who should be doing it? Okay. What is this? I can explain in one sentence. I don't have to by heart is. What is geohydrological mapping? Why do we need it? Why do we need it, May? Can you give me 3 or 4 broad heads? Why do we need it? Anybody? Why do we need it? Go logically. Why do we need it? Number 1, to identify, okay, the groundwater and the hydrological resources. Okay? Why do I need it? First is to identify the resources. Why do we need it? Probably to anticipate the local groundwater resources. Why do we need it? For planning and for developing water resources. Why do we need it? To anticipate the geohydrological disasters. Why do we need it? To support geohydrological based constructions. Can we have these 4-5 points? One is identify the groundwater and hydrological resource. Second is to anticipate, okay, the local resource. Ek to hai, I know that this area has water. And now because this area has waters, I anticipate maybe those areas will also have water. What does mapping do? Mapping tells me what exists here, and mapping also tells me if these conditions have this kind of resource, the similar conditions will also have the same type of resource, correct? It helps me identify the resource. It helps me anticipate the resource. It helps me understand what are the physical, okay, conditions in which these resources are developed. They can help me anticipate the geohydrological disasters. Can you name 3-4 disasters that are related to geohydrological conditions? Anybody? What are disasters? Okay, GLOF, yes. What else? Groundwater pollution, okay. What else? What else? Landslides, yes. Debris flow, yes. Subsidence, absolutely. Subsidence, okay. A slope instability, absolutely. Urban floods also. Okay, all of you here? It helps me anticipate the geohydrological disasters. And because of this, they can help me in supporting the geohydrological based constructions. Can you give me examples of this? Can you give examples of geohydrological constructions? Anybody? Dams, okay, wells, okay. What else? What else? Retaining walls, canals, absolutely. To design foundations, absolutely. Bridges. I mean, that's a good point, no? Embankments, yes. Embankments. Okay, they can help us drain the tunnels, yes. So why do we need mapping? If I start with what is the mapping? Why do we need mapping? And tell me who should be doing this? Who should be doing this? Okay, can you give me some names here? Okay, Department of Earth Sciences. What else? Who can be do this? Yes, the Geological Survey of India can do this. What else? Groundwater. Okay, Water Commission can do this. Urban planning can do this. So our point here is that geohydrological mapping is a multidisciplinary, okay, activity. It is a multidisciplinary activity. It has a very varied range of applications. It can be used by Earth Sciences, by Geological Survey of India, by groundwater commissions for urban development, and so on. We should also integrate the geohydrological maps with disaster vulnerability maps also. This becomes the part of your conclusion. Can you tell me some programs that run on mapping of geohydrological resources? Give me name of some programs. Yes, Springshed Water Management, Atal Bhujal Yojana, absolutely. Atal Bhujal Yojana, Springshed. I mean, don't forget watershed itself. Yes. Okay, when we're trying to revive the natural aquifers. So, importance of geohydrological based mapping is important in success of programs like, name some programs like Atal Bhujal Yojana, like Springshed based management, like watershed management, like restoration and revival of wastelands. Okay, like okay, development of slope stability for a hill area development. बनेगा आपका आंसर? I've named programs here. Okay, I've made programs here. Okay, it has a special relevance. This has a special relevance in anticipating okay, a hill area hazards like GLOP, glacial lake outbursts, okay, like GLOP. Yeah, is it fine all of you now? So the idea of the discussion is not to teach you what is it. My focus here is to teach you how can you organize that answer. Absolutely. I mean, I would like to add that point here. ये जो importance क्यों है, importance क्यों है, इसमें आप एक और add कर सकते हो that mapping जो है जो resources can also lead to mapping of groundwater pollution, mapping of the geological regions can also lead to mapping of groundwater pollution. So is this answer now understandable now, all of you? Yeah. So I said no. My focus is not to teach you on this point. मुझे ये क्वेश्चन आप कभी एंटिसिपेट कर ही नहीं सकते. You could not have anticipated it. Now, how do you improvise on this particular question? How do you develop an answer around this particular question? Okay, I'll come to that. I'm coming to wait. Okay, now if I have a map here, if I want to have a map here, आप बताओ, what kind of map can I make? Okay, can I simply make the geohydrological mapping of groundwater resource regions of India? Can I do this? Can I do this? Geological mapping of groundwater resource regions of India. Exactly what we know under the groundwater provinces. वही बना के आ जाना. Okay, so I draw the map of India. I draw the map of India. Okay, and I say this is one region, this is another region, the Deccan region, the Deccan traps here. We have the coastal region, we have the Terai region. Okay, you can say this, the geohydrological mapping of groundwater provinces of India. And name them: hill regions, Terai regions, northern plains. Okay, Deccan region, you have got this hard Nisik regions. You have this map in your Khuller. All of you have studied this. दोबारा question देखो. The question asks, what is the importance of mapping? Why is mapping important for analyzing geohydrological investigations? So what is the importance of mapping? It tells us about the resources. It tells us about hazards. It tells us about anticipating what are the areas of groundwater. It helps us in pollution mapping. It helps us in planning the programs around water sustainability. This is the main body of the answer. And give examples. Okay, आपके programs examples बन जाएंगे. Groundwater mapping for Atal Bhujal Yojana, groundwater mapping for springshed systems, for watershed systems. All of this can become examples. Is this question manageable now? Now, question number 1C. I'm moving on now. Question number 1C. It says, marine resources are economically very significant. Discuss citing suitable examples. Marine resources are economically very significant. Very significant. Okay, discuss citing examples. Discuss citing examples. Discuss citing examples. Okay, so now, how will you start your introduction? Okay, how will you start introduction? I can see 2 or 3 themes. Number 1 is that marine resources are immense. immense, not appropriately monetized. Okay. Number two, marine resources are not ecological importance alone. They can support immediate economies. And third is that India should map its marine economy more pragmatically. I have to establish the fact that marine resources are economically very important. Okay, but what has happened is we are ignoring it. What has happened is India has not done a good mapping. When we talk about oceans, we mainly talk about the ecological aspect of the oceans. So oceans का importance goes beyond ecology. Ecology बहुत important है. Okay, while oceans are appreciated for the heat exchange systems that they are, oceans are appreciated for the coral reefs and biodiversity. The oceans are very important component of the global weather. So when I say weather, when I say biodiversity, when I say heat management, आप ये बताओ, do these three things look like economic importance to us? No. Okay. Oceans are integral to our weather. Oceans and biodiversity is integral to our diversity of landforms. They're part of the world's weather and heat management. That's okay. Okay. What we are saying is that we need to emphasize that marine resources are also important in terms of economy and not appropriately monetized. Okay. They are not merely ecological importance alone, and India must map. So around these three, if I say these three, does it look like I've emphasized on the economic aspect? Yes or no? देखो, introduction का, the introduction that you have, what purpose should an introduction serve? Anybody? What purpose should an introduction serve? क्या purpose होना चाहिए? An introduction should do two things. One is tell the examiner that the question is understood. And second is, lead the answer that follows thereafter. These are the two important purpose of an introduction. These are the two important reasons why we need to have an introduction. One is to tell the examiner that the question is understood, कि आपको question समझ में आ रहा है. Okay, so if I start with saying that marine resources are very important, the oceans are very large, they account for 3/4 of the world surface. The oceans have lot of resources. If I start with this, now tell me one thing. Do these 3 points tell me about what is asked? Yes or no? Oceans have resources. Oceans have lot of resources, and oceans are 3/4 of the world's surface. Does it tell me about the question asked? No. But if I rephrase this, while oceans have tremendous biodiversity and some of the most important ecosystems, oceans are economically very useful too. Oceans economic significance is around the biotic, okay, resources, around the mineral resources, and also the navigation routes. India too should map the economic importance of its vast, more than 3 million, okay, square kilometers of its EEZ. Ab batao, does this introduction look like I'm talking about economic importance or not? While oceans are, okay, have tremendous biodiversity and have some of the most important ecosystems, oceans are, okay, economically very important too. The ocean economic resources is around the biodiversity, or you can say around, you can say fishing zones, around the fishing zones, the mineral resources, and also the navigation routes. India too should be mapping its economic significance of its EEZ. Yeah, and this is what I started with. Okay, so to establish the importance, yes, we have not properly monetized. Marine is not simply ecological, and India should also do this. So ये तीन चीज को मैंने compress किया into the introduction. Okay, then you have to break this up. Now you are structuring the body of the answer. Okay, the economic significance of marine resources. अब आप बताओ, how will you organize this? Economic significance of marine resources. Okay, so economic importance of fishing and ocean biodiversity. Economic importance of ocean fossil fuel resources. Okay, economic significance of alternate non-conventional, okay, energy resources. Okay, economic significance of ocean and beach tourism. Don't forget this. Number 5. Okay, economic significance of sea lanes of communication, navigation, freight, and the rest. Are we missing anything? What is the economic significance of marine resources? Have I added everything? Okay. Yes, minerals. Yes, absolutely correct. Okay. So you also have non-energy mineral resources. Okay. Non-energy mineral, you have got bromine extraction, you have got sulfur extraction, you also have polymetallic nodules. These are non-energy ones. Okay, energy के अंदर में, okay, एक तो oil आ जाएगा, फॉसिल फ्यूल में ऑयल भी आएगा, यहां पर गैस आएगा, एंड नॉन कन्वेंशनल यू हैव द एंटायर रेंज, टाइडल है, ओटेक है. In recent times, we also have gas hydrates. You also have wave energy. Go on there. So, non-energy, navigation, ocean and beach tourism. Non-convention energy, we have the fossil fuel. We have the fossil fuel, fishing and biodiversity. Fishing and biodiversity. Okay, so इसमें आ जाएगा. You'll have the seaweed farming. We have fishing. You can talk about deep sea fishing for that matter. Okay, and the whole range of fishing here. Now, your geography comes through maps. Use maps. Okay, explain the resources with respect to the natural geology and ocean environment. Let me explain this. देखो, यहां तक till here this looks like a GS answer. ये जो 5-6 points हैं, these 4-5 points, they look typically like a GS answer. How do you bring geography into this is the next question. So what you do is you use maps, and importantly what you do is you relate the resources with natural geological conditions and ocean environment. आप इससे लिंक करोगे आप. You will link it to the biological realms. You link it to the biological realms. Yes, good, very nice, Tushar. So when talking about fishing, relate it with upwelling. When talking about polymetallic nodules, relate it with the ocean bottom fracture zones and geothermal vents of the ocean. Yes. When you're talking about biodiversity, talk in terms of tropical waters, talk in terms of the sea surface temperatures, talk about the thermoclines. Is it okay now? What I mean by geography now? Okay. So if I draw a table here, so ocean resources, associated conditions in resource development. Examples. Okay, ocean, economic resource. That's what the question is. See if you can fill up this table for yourself now. This is hardcore geography. Ocean economic resources, associated conditions in the resource development, and what are the examples? This is your innovation in geography. So you have got, okay, fishing zones which are in the upwelling regions. We have in the tropical waters and in the temperate waters. Examples, talk about, okay, the Dodger Bank, talk about Grand Bank, talk about the Peru coast. Oil and gas, these are rifting zones. These are areas of geological transformations. Okay, so oil and gas, North Sea oil, Persian Gulf oil, You can talk about the oil of Arabian Sea, Third, we have tidal energy, narrow coasts, creeks, narrow coast in Greece. You have got, if you know about La Rance in France, we have Okha in India, Durga Dhwani creeks, tidal energy. You have polymetallic nodules. These are deep sea fractures and geothermal vents. Talk about Northeast Pacific. Talk about Indian Ocean. Beach tourism. Where are these? These are in the Coral Islands. Shallow beaches. Areas of dive tourism. Give examples here. You could make a map around this. I mean, in every question that you write, you have to keep on reminding yourself to bring geography. In every question you write, tell yourself that I have to write something linked to geography. Okay? So this is one table you can use. For one or two, you could also use a map. How would you want to conclude this? Conclusion can be the importance of blue economy, the importance of UNCLOS in sharing the economic benefits of the ocean resources. Okay. UNCLOS and collaborating the sea lines of communications. Talk about ocean sustainability. Correct? Yes. So, you know, this question is not really a difficult question. But my guess that most of you would have missed out, okay, something around geography, something around India. Okay, ocean importance and the need to promote Sagarmala, development of the coasts and development of the ports. So these two things could be missing in your answers. Relating the question to Indian ventures, Indian prospects, and linking the resources with the geological formations. I don't think otherwise this question is going to be difficult. Anybody else you want me to? So this map, this will not be more than half a page. Okay, this listing, do not develop all the points equally. Maybe spend more amount of space for this, spend more space on this and more space on this. ये दो पे spend करना. And in this, you can always use schematic. You can always use schematic here. Can you all see the screen? I will not say the best answer, but we have tried to develop some answer here that is fairly on the lines of the suggestion. You can always improvise on this, improve on this. So marine resources are economically very significant. Discuss with examples. So as per the estimates of Global Ocean Commission, ocean resources contribute 5% of the world's GDP. An example of the economy, okay? It secures jobs and 3 billion people and sustain livelihoods and adds to the 4.1% of India's economy. This is a map of the resources. So these ones, these are polymetallic nodules. Okay, these ones are the fishing zones that we have. Okay, then we have polymetallic sulfides, some dotted here. So something that we have for the world, you can always make it more smarter. Then what is the economic significance? So biological marine resources, so 2 or 3 lines with examples. You can be a bit more specific here. Cod fishing, you can talk about whale fishing, whaling, krill fishing, have something here. Fisheries sector, okay. Livelihood, backbone, small island states, 45% of the global sea supply. Okay, world fisheries, aquaculture. Okay, then other resources like petroleum, manganese, nodules, 34% of crude oil coming from the maritime, energy resources, wind, waves, currents. तो ये सारा आपका 2 पेज में हो गया, and you can end the answer with a case study. Okay, so this is just an example, but you can make it more smarter if you use some of the schematics I just suggested right now. This is a very basic answer. You can reduce the size of the world map, and you could put a table here if you want to put up a table here. Okay, so you could add about tourism. Tourism discussions could be on the table. So this is a very basic write-up. ये आपका approximately 2 pages and a bit more हो गया. I would prefer it is within 2 pages, but add more tables, add more schematics, and you get the answer. So marine resources are very significant, GDP of the country, livelihood. Okay, they are not uniform, regional differences hain. We'll have to have some methods to control overexploitation. So I would like if we could have something around UNCLOS about what India has done, blue economy, Sagarmala, and the rest. Okay, so what does a good answer look like? You can always improvise on this hereafter. I'll suggest some of you please do write these answers and maybe share on our common channel. You can always improvise and give it to you if you want to. Okay, let's move on. Which factors, the next question please. Yeah, next question. Which factors influence the growth of wild plants in India? Which factors influence the growth of wild plants in India? And discuss their economic significance. This is 1D, paper 1, 2020. Another question where you could not have anticipated this. The model answers will be given to you on the app. If you have registered for the program, आपको हम कुछ answers दे देंगे. And we'll put it up on the website also for all of you to access if you're registered. No problem. Come to this question. Another question that demands improvisation. Again, हमें helicopter shot बनाना है इसको. Okay, a switch shot. Okay, reverse sweep. Which factors influence the growth of wild plants in India? Discuss their economic significance. Could anybody anticipate this question? Can anybody anticipate this question? कि हाँ ये पूछने वाला है, I have to be ready with this. Is it possible to anticipate? No. But can you leave this question? No. Yes, Halloween storm was more easy. Halloween storm was more easy. Now see, if you look at the questions now, 3 to 4 questions out of 10, you have to write with your improvisation. आप इसका कुछ नहीं कर सकते. You have to do it. Now, ये जो wild plants हैं, remember, wild plants, this is basically the plant ecology beyond plantations. beyond agriculture, beyond horticulture. This is what it means. When I say wild plants in India, wild plants are those plants beyond deliberate plantations, beyond deliberate agriculture, and beyond horticulture. What are the native plants? What are the native plants? What are the endemic plants? Okay. What is natural in Indian ecosystem? You must talk about that. Okay. Wild plants, and it's asking us economic significance. It's asking us economic significance. Those plants which have grown because of natural conditions, those are wild plants. Economic significance, therefore, you should not be writing about eucalyptus. Don't write about your lantana weeds. अब समझ में आ रहा है? Because economic significance बोला है. Now think of, listen here. Now think of this. If I have to attempt the answer, how will I go about it? How will I go about it? This is plants, not simply forest. Okay. So we have water hyacinth is not economically significant, is it? It is not economically significant. Okay. It's an invasive species. Usko chhod do aap. Give me, yes, you are now coming, Vijay. Okay. Now give me some names of some wild native plants. Okay. Plants and trees. Yes. We have red sanders. Okay. Natural endemic. Okay. We have the Mahua forests. Okay. We have medicinal plants in the hills. We have natural grasslands. Okay. We have bamboo in the wild. Okay. The wild and natural sal and teak forests. Give me some more names. Sundari trees. Yes. We have the Sundari trees. We have got wild berries. Wild berries. Okay. Yes. Semal. Wild jamun. Okay. We have wild acacia. We have got wild casuarina plants. Is it okay? You also have natural wild cereals. That includes millets. That includes wild rice. अब इतना नाम तो आपको स्ट्राइक कर लिया ना. What are those wild species? What are the wild species? You understand this? Jatropa, okay. Jatropa भी add कर सकते हो. Although Jatropa in some areas has been now planted. Red sanders. अब आपको yes. Pani Singada, correct. Yes. So you pick up 4-5 names that you know. Okay. And remember, yes, guar gun. Absolutely. I forgot to mention this. Guar gum. Guar gum. Yes. Sandalwood and lark. Absolutely. Sandalwood and lark. Okay. Lark insects on the trees, on the simul trees in particular. Okay, now, okay, guys, listen. अब आपको नाम का तो shortage नहीं है ना? Our idea was that you have to pick up some names of trees and plants that are not grown as a part of agriculture, not grown as a part of commercial plantation or deliberate farming. Water hyacinth is not economically significant. Remember, he's asking about discuss that economic significance. ये बहुत important है. Okay. Now come to, you have the names now. Now come to which factors influence the growth of wild plants. अब बताओ आप. What are the factors influencing the growth of wild plants? Okay. So climate factor, local ecology, soil and ground conditions. What else? What factors? Okay. Physiographic factors, natural physiographic and slopes. Okay. And another being relative isolation. ये बहुत important है. Relative isolation. Because see, if there's too much of human interference, those type of plants may not grow. So if you ask us, what are the reasons that allow for the natural wild species to grow? Climate mein, we have the tropical forests. Okay, we have the temperate and the cool, okay, forests. Local ecosystem ecology, swamps, coastal regions and estuaries. Physiographic slopes mein, okay, we have got highlands, we have got wet slopes, we have got rain shadow conditions. Ye hoga? What are the factors? Okay, it also includes sunlight. Okay, so इसमें भी sunlight आ सकता है. यहाँ पर temperature and rains can also add sunlight. ठीक है? Swamps, deltas, yes. Now, if you remember your class notes, we have talked about what are the factors influencing the distribution of plants and animals, correct? So you have to take points from there. You must take points from there. And isolation may, okay, this includes interior tribal pockets. Do you know about sacred groves? You know about sacred groves? So are these also not impacting the natural wild? Yes, they are. Mention 3-4 sacred grooves. Okay. So for each of this, can you give us some examples? Give us some examples about tropical forests, say Western Ghats. Examples of temperate cool, talk about Himalayas. Examples of coastal ecosystem, you can talk about mangroves. You can talk about wetlands. Again here, wet slopes, you can talk about northeastern slopes and the teak forests. Rain shadow conditions, you can talk about areas of Karnataka and plateau interiors. And for each of this, give some names. Tropical forests. Tropical forests. So we have got, okay, teak. We have got orchids. We have got climbers. Wet forests. Okay. Temperate cool. Talk about coniferous. Talk about poplar. Estuarines and delta regions. So यहाँ पर you have casuarina. Okay. You again have coconut. In these areas, you have got sandalwood. So pick up some names. What are the factors influencing? Yes, myristica swamps. That is part of your isolation. Myristica swamps. Manged Bani, example of sacred grooves. So from this chart that we had a chart of different names. Okay, so each of this you can fit in there. So northeast mein, we talk about bamboo, northeast and eastern part of India. The natural grasslands, talk about the Himalayas. You talk about red sanders, talk about areas of Telangana. Seshachalam Hills. Seshachalam Hills for red sanders. Mahua forests, talk about Chhattisgarh. Pick up some names. Okay, we have got wild berries. This is scattered. Okay, Semal, Jamun. These areas are the drier and the hotter areas. Acacia, Jamun, Semal. Okay, Jatropa again in the drier areas. Okay, so pick up some names from here and do this. Can we make a map for this? So map of natural and wild vegetation of India with associated conditions and species. Can we make a map of this? Map of natural and wild vegetation of India with the associated conditions and the species. So there you are. You make a map on this. So this is one region. This is one region. This could be one. This could be one. The coastal region is one. The dry region is one. This area could be one. Okay. So this is cool and temperate, montane. This is wet. This is coastal and estuaries. This is Western Ghats, which is wet, evergreen. This is the dry regions. This is Himalayan foothills. And for each of this, give some examples. Give some examples. And these, of course, Chhattisgarh. These are, okay, these are, semi-arid and wet forests of Dandakaranya. You have to improvise on this. The GS comes with maps. Sorry, the geography comes with maps. The geography comes with geographical terms. जिसका geography नहीं होगा, he cannot draw this map. One does not have geography optional. He cannot relate the species with the conditions. Nawal, map of the natural and the wild vegetation of India and the associated conditions and the species. यहाँ पर आप bamboo लिखो, right? Bamboo here, right? poplar here, light, right, okay, oak, okay, right, sal here, okay, right, semal, acacia, all in the dry conditions. Western Ghats, wet regions. You can always talk about sandalwood. Malabar regions is far more wetter. Mention ebony, rosewood here. Okay. Map of the natural wild vegetation of India and the associated species and conditions. Okay, so I hope the content part is now done. Now you come towards how you could have organized this. How you could have organized this. Now, in the introduction, okay, you could have mentioned that India is in the unique confluence of various tropical biogeographical realms. The conditions of its native and wild plants are influenced by Oriental realm, Meso-African realm, and the China-Tibet realm. India is part of Paleotropical plants kingdom. Did you all know this fact? How do you bring geography? You bring in geographical terms. India is in the unique confluence, the merger of various tropical and biogeographical realms. Okay, it has conditions. The conditions of its native and wild plants are influenced by Oriental realm, Meso-African realm, and the China-Tibet realm. India is part of Paleotropical plant kingdom. India is part of Paleotropical plant kingdom. You could have a table. Okay, conditions associated with the wild and native plants and trees. You could have a table here. Okay, you could draw the map here. ये जो map आपको मैंने बताया यहाँ पर, this map could be drawn there. Map of the wild vegetation and the associated species. You could draw it there. Draw the map here. So this is your introduction. This is introduction. This is the diagram. The third, now you can discuss a certain factors. You can discuss climate, give some lines here with examples. You can talk about, okay, the local ecosystem, give us examples, and you could specifically talk about the relative isolation and the sacred grooves. ये अलग से point बन जाएगा आपका. Discuss something here. Areas which have not been touched by people, tribal pockets, areas where people have preserved the forests, talk about that separately. The relative isolation and the presence of the sacred groves. Absolutely. ये जो climate and local conditions हैं, these are linked to adaptations. Okay, these are linked to tolerance. So I would say point number 1, point number 2, point number 3. The map. This is the map and the related species. So Western Ghats, hill areas, wet regions. Okay, the dry regions, what type of species? The cool temperate montane, what type of species? The Himalayan foothills, some names of plants. The wet region, name of plants. Chhattisgarh, dry region, some names of plants. You can use this as a part of the map earlier. Now you can talk about the economic significance. Economic significance, I can see 3-4 of them. One is the local economy. Local economy, it could be medicinal plants. It could be part of shifting agriculture of the tribes. Local economy में food, fiber, talk about cane industries or cane products of tribal population. You can talk about mahua based economy. Okay, you can talk about local firewood economy. You can talk about local timber economy. But remember, talk in the context of tribes. The local economy को discuss करने के लिए mention the minor forest produce based economy. Minor forest produce based economy. So economic significance. And you can add hence the importance of conserving the natural wild plants with joint forest management, with tribal area development programs. The significance of social forestry with local species. The importance of conserving natural wild plants. You can talk about guar gums also if you want to, no problem. Okay. Tribal forest rights, yes. The tribal forest rights की बात कर सकते हैं आप. So natural wild, link that with tribal rights. And in general, the biodiversity and the rest. The last sentence, hence the importance of conserving natural wild plants with joint forest management, with tribal area development programs, and encouraging social forestry with local species. Social forestry with local species. Make sense, all of you? I'm showing you another answer. Okay, so which factors influence the growth of wild plants in India? Discuss their economic significance. So a schematic, dekho, another way of writing the answer. Okay, so you have got schematic, climatic factors, biotic factors, tectonic factors. We have got fire, physical factors, edaphic factors, soils. The growth of wild plants in India is influenced by a variety of factors related to climate, biotic factor, physical factors, and so on. Okay, the distribution. So the distribution could be in terms of seed dispersal, vegetative propagation, just to add some points. The role of man, the tribes, they also play an important role. So this is one type of schematic based write-up. Okay, what I have discussed is another form of writing. So this is a more easier one, the straightforward one, which most of you can copy, most of you can try this. But see if you can improvise with the points I have given in the class and economic significance. Okay, so we have got food, medicines, firewood. Okay, we can talk about desertification control, biodiversity, preserve wild plants, okay, from anthropogenic and natural factors, and so on. So the model answers here, they're relatively more straight. They're relatively less complicated. But because I'm discussing something in detail, you could try what I have discussed in a if you can write some answer on this. So these answers will be made available to you. Yes, absolutely. You can talk about biological patents, bioprospecting, some kind of biodiversity, inventorization of the wild species. Go on there, no problem. So 1, A, B, C, D, E. E, I think, is a more straight question. Nothing much to debate or discuss on this. Okay, discuss the problems associated with living environment in million+ cities in India and how can these be managed. So this question is more around the urban problems of million+ cities. Okay, so abhi beta, we're trying to take you through some questions. And if you want to join, we are starting the organized test series program starting from June, I think 9th onwards. Okay, so those who have done it, no problem. Those who want the test, you can join only the test. So these 1 or 2 weeks will help you understand a bit about answer writing, what points to cover and what can you do to improvise on your answers. Yes, we're starting on 9th. Okay, 9th will finish off in the 1st or 2nd week of August. Then we'll leave you for the prelims and then call you after the prelims. We have a class tomorrow also, okay? So join me tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll start on time. Today is already 6 o'clock. We'll start on time and try finishing off the paper 1. Okay then, bye-bye all of you. Bye-bye. Catch you tomorrow. Bye.